Hello and welcome to another video looking at another magazine. Again, going to be from 1993, so we're going back 30 years again. I suppose that's just it really, because it's the anniversary of quite a few key magazines, as said on the last video I did, which looked at ST Action. Granted, that wasn't from 30 years ago, but the Games Master one that I did just before that was. So this one is going to be from 30 years ago. Still got one to come for issue 1 of Edge, which I'll probably put up next week, because Edge issue 1 came out, I think it said 19th of August off the top of my head when I was doing research. So we're getting close to that as I record this on the 4th, is it? The 5th? No, 4th of August. So I'll definitely get that one done in the next week, possibly week and a half. So yeah, that's it really. A few more magazines have turned up. Again, just sticking to ST Action. What I'm trying to do at the moment is complete issue 30 all the way up to 68. I know obviously you got the early ones as well, but I'm trying to not add 60 odd magazines to my collection ideally. So even though I've got a spare now of this was the first magazine I bought with like my own money. Well, this particular, not this actual issue I'm holding now, but this particular month's, which is dated October 1990. So because that was like the magazine that I bought with my own money, it's always been quite memorable to me really, with the cover disc. So at some point I will end up doing a video on that, having a more of an in-depth look, and then that started me buying ST Action all the way until the end. And again, like I touched on last time, it got quite thin, but these issues here that I've just got from like 1990, 1991 are a lot thicker. So you've got that one, issue 30, and then massive load of software drawn in this guy. Back when VST used to have loads and loads of games. And then also this bit of a weird cover. Some of these I do remember just mainly for the demo disc. Like I say, I'm not really looking at them in any full-on in-depth coverage today. And that one there with Chuck Rock as well. 2 discs of that. That was a big deal again when I was a teenager. Just getting more and more demos to play. Like I'm sure I'm not the only person who really enjoyed the game demos. But magazine we're looking at today. So this will be 30 years ago. We're looking at Game Zone, or well, Nintendo Game Zone, done by Dennis. Although this one will have been, well, I'll touch on it in a moment really. So originally done by Dennis, did 12 issues as a multi-format console magazine, covering obviously all the Sega machines and Nintendo mainly. Did touch on a few other things like PC Engine, but not really very often, and Lynx a little bit as well. And then after 12 issues, still with Dennis, it split into Sega Zone, which it lasted, I think it was 20 odd issues through different publishers, and then Nintendo Game Zone, which is here. So this is from September 1993, well, dated September 93, so I think this came out at the start of the month, so probably around 30 years ago this week, thereabouts. And some of the stuff in here was mentioned in the Games Master video I did, so I'll try not to go over it too much. But this issue here, issue 11, volume 2, was the first one by Future. Things were changing. Future bought Sega Zone and also Nintendo Game Zone, which was eventually rebranded just to Game Zone again, because this Nintendo side didn't really last that much longer. It folded, I think it was issue 18. So the Sega one did carry on a little bit longer, but that's only because it went to Maverick magazines, and Future just got rid of the Nintendo side, which is quite surprising because, I don't think Maverick at the time really had anything Nintendo, and also, speaking of corrections, I just want to say that the last video when I talked about ST Action, ST Action went into ST User magazine, not ST Review, as I did say. So sorry for that. So yeah, so let's have a quick look. So a bit of a weird cover really, because Dracula, obviously, Bram Stoker's Dracula, quite a popular film. Gets hammered a bit for Keanu Reeves' acting, but again, quite an iconic Dracula character. With Gary Oldman's Dracula, I should say. And yeah, this came out on quite a lot of different consoles. It's one of those which is like a full-on multi-release. Even coming out, I think, on the Amiga as well. So we're having a look, at every single version in here. But anyway, I'll just quickly flick through again at key parts. First of all, an advert there for Batman Returns, while we're talking about film tie-ins. And honestly, this game is still brilliant now. A really good scrolling beat 'em up. Sadly, only one player. But yeah, it's again from Konami, and it's sort of that golden era of Konami where they could do no wrong at all. So I'm not going to show the contents page just because I'm going to go through this, and you'll see the contents as I go through it. So here we're starting off, obviously, like most magazines, with the news. And the big news here, we have got Dominic Diamond departs from Games Master. That was obviously only for one series. We all know this. We've talked about it so many times. And obviously Dexter Fletcher taking over for a series. We're also talking about the second Future Entertainment show down in London. I would have loved to have gone to that as a kid, because obviously I had quite a few magazines there as well. You had games to play and everything like that. So it was good, definitely. So what have we got here? We have got loads of adverts for Alfred Chicken, a game I've never played for any machine at all. I'm not going to really look at the charts on this one. I'm just going to try and get stuck into the big things here. So even though Future have now taken over Game Zone, they've still kept a lot of the same layout. They've not brought in massive changes straight away. They didn't actually do that until it hits in its third year. So from issue 13, one that I have got in my collection as well. So with this, you'd notice it. If I do a video on it, I'll be able to point out a few changes that were made. Didn't go overboard, because obviously we're having so many Super Nintendo magazines by Future, such as Super Play, Total, and then Nintendo Game Zone. We need to have some sort of differences. So in this, big in Japan, tons of fighting games. It's a fighting game special, really, with Art of Fighting, World Heroes, Ranma Half, a game I actually bought, Fatal Fury 2, and Dragon Ball Z. And it's, even now you still see how popular Dragon Ball Z is, and you're going back 30 years of the games coming out of Super Nintendo and things. It's quite surprising. I do bore a lot of customers to death at HMV when they go, oh, I'm buying Dragon Ball Z, and go, oh, I remember the games on Super Nintendo. And they just go, I don't know what you're on about. Anyway, we have got the big review, and it is Bram Stoker's Dracula on Super Nintendo. Okay, so they've got this as an exclusive. So this now explains why it's got so many pages. Now, I've never played this. At the time, some of the film tie-ins were awful, like Cliffhanger I played fairly recently, which I had never had, and also Last Action Hero, and I seem to remember Dracula getting quite a bit of a stick as well. I suppose you've got like Castlevania, Super Castlevania, on Nintendo consoles, so it's showing like all the different bad guys and stuff like that. And friends of the magazines, Chris McCauley, he's working on a upcoming Dracula game, and showing me little bits of clips and bits of footage. So that actually looks quite interesting. It seems to be going for that sort of Castlevania vibe. But more of that in the magazine and through Chris. But looking at this, even though it's had bad reviews elsewhere, it's got 80%, which is not bad at all, really. Reviewed there by Trenton Webb, who was at Future for a long time, and also just worked on a lot of key magazines. So let's have a quick look because they're keeping all the Dracula coverage together. So next up we've got Dracula on the NES. So again, this is like the NES, which has got, again, the Castlevania trilogy of games. So let's have a quick look at it. Similar in style. Review wise though, 66%, which isn't too bad really, you know. It's got quite a lot of competition. And then lastly, to complete the trilogy of Bram Stoker's Dracula games, we've also got the Game Boy version, and there we have got, what's that, 81, is it? Yeah, 81%. So again, done by Trent Webb, and yeah, so it's not too bad at all. Trenton Webb, I should say. God, I've called him Trenton at first. I mean Trent. Anyway, we have got the Cartridge family, which is basically the Who's Who working on a magazine. A few names there. The one here, Adam Peters, has just wrote a really good upcoming piece in the next Pixel Addict magazine, where he's discussing celebrities and gaming, and you know, like how the sort of celeb industry, should say, embrace computers and consoles. So more on that when the magazine's back from the printers, because I will do a little video. So yeah, it's nice to you know, read Adam's gaming related work. But anyway, enough of that right now. Carrying straight on with Game Zone. So the big review, again, I've said this before, but this time was absolutely massive. You know, all the magazines were going just doolally for Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and it really was a big jump. The Street Fighter 2 Turbo jump, I think, was a lot bigger than the Super Street Fighter 2 one, because even though Super Street Fighter 2 added another 4 characters, Street Fighter 2 Turbo just seemed really, really special. You know, obviously it was a lot faster, you could be the bosses, and again, anyone who was into gaming at the time, that was a big question. How do you be the bosses? How do you be the bosses? You know, people would be buying like action replays and things like that, and you know, I don't know, it just always seemed a bit dodgy and stuff. So to actually be the bosses, you know, it was probably worth the extra 60 quid, 70 quid it cost to get Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, I should say. See, I'm falling over myself there. But a massive score for it, really, really was. So yeah, really, really recommended that. And then we've got Mortal Kombat on the Game Boy. Didn't actually play this, but I've been looking through some GB Action magazines, and obviously got quite a bit of coverage there because the first 2 Mortal Kombat games came out on original Game Boy. I just can't see it being that good, but we gave it 67%. And then we've got Mortal Kombat on the Super Nintendo. Again, I've discussed this in the Games Master video, so I'm not going to spend too long on it. Again, the first one, Super Nintendo, not amazing. It's still got, you know, most of the characters in. I'm sure there were a few moves missing, but it definitely had, you know, less violence and things. But this probably actually fits in, because you have a look at the score down here, 68%. And I think that's about right, because even though it would have had all the hype, it didn't have like everything you wanted as a gamer, and also you wanted the violence. You know, that's what Mortal Kombat was known for, and you didn't really get like the full experience, did you? You know, so I think when it comes to it, 68%. Yeah, it just says a cart full of great graphics and sound with precious little game. So yeah, that's probably fair enough. And then we've got this, Nigel Mansell's World Championship. Game that I got in my collection, but only because it's cheap. And it always got okay reviews. So they've given it 80%. It's the one where Rick Mail did an advert for this as well. So again, always got a soft spot when Rick Mail's involved. And then we've got a platformer for Game Boy, Dr. Franken 2. Dr. Franken is a series I've never actually played on any machine, you know, like even the SNES. So they're giving that 88%. But it seemed to like be at home on the Game Boy. You know, I remember like seeing so many adverts for it. Game I've played a lot, I'm not going to mention it too much now, but Shadowrun on Super Nintendo. Again, watch the Games Master video if you want to hear my thoughts, but I will just say they gave it 90%, which is something that I really, really do agree with. Absolutely fantastic game. I absolutely love it. You know, brilliant storyline. Makes you want to carry on playing through it. Anyway, a game next called Toddlers. I've owned this and I never played it. When I started collecting Super Nintendo games again in 2012, I started going to things like, you know, Play Blackpool and stuff like that. And any Super Nintendo games that were sort of like boxed, less than 20 quid, I'd pick them up, you know, because, God, I'm going back 10 years ago now. It's crazy. And I'd be like going, yeah, go on, I'll try it. It's always the same. You start off with good intentions, so you start collecting for a machine again. You go, right, I'm just going to get the games I had as a kid. And then you go, right, okay, I've got them now. Well, I'm going to get the games that I always wanted as a kid, but I couldn't afford. You know, so then you have them, and then you just start going, oh, well, sod it now. I'm just going to see anything that's cheap. I just want more and more games, you know, and before you know it, you've fallen off the wagon and you got like a load of games, including loads that you're not going to play. And yeah, I'm sure we've all been there many a time. Anyway, back to the magazine. Sorry, I'm really being dragged here, there, everywhere today. Next up, we have got Firefighter 91%. Never ever played it. I think, yes, I had my gameplay at this time though, but I don't know. Maybe it was just mainly the Super Nintendo that got all the you know, all the attention. For Samurai on the Super Nintendo, that is a game I've played a lot of on the ST and Amiga. Never actually bothered with the console version. You seem to have got like a few games like this, you know, which were just mainly known as Amiga or ST games, and then they started just appearing, you know, on the consoles a little bit. They only gave it 61% though, so that's not great, really, is it? You know, it's not the type of game you rush out to play, especially when you're paying like 40 odd quid. I think that was just it, because like I'd gone from like the ST onto the Super Nintendo, so you see something like for Samurai, and by that point it's been out for about a year and a half, and you know, like now you could probably pick it up for like a tenner on Amiga or ST, and then you're going, how much is for Samurai on Super Nintendo? Oh, it's 45 quid, 50 quid, and you're like, what? You know, at the end of the day, it's like quite an old game, you know. Anyway, we've got an advert here for the PC and Mega Drive hybrid, something I always wanted to play but never did, you know. So how much is that? It's a 386 SX PC of the Mega PC for £600. So this is before Pentiums and everything kick in. Then we've got a NES review, MiG-29, not the type of thing I'd ever play. Not really into for flight sim games, 65%, so don't think I'm really missing too much here. This is a Japanese import game. It did come out in September of '93, so probably just before it came out in the UK. Super Mario Collection, or Mario All-Stars, it's also known. And my God, this was absolutely fantastic. You know, we're talking like some of the best platforming games, and also Lost Levels, which I'm awful at, you know, on one cartridge. And it was just brilliant. You know, I mean, there were still really good games, you know, on the NES as well, but to get them all on one cartridge was like such value for money. And then eventually, when, you know, you could be getting that with the Super Nintendo, including Mario World eventually as well on later releases, it was just like hours and hours, weeks, you know, of gaming on this one cartridge. But anyway, what we're giving it here, 92%. To be fair, I think that's almost a bit low. You know, you're getting some of the best games ever. But anyway, only by a little bit. I'm not crazy saying give it 100%. Although, I'm sure it was like 98% or 99% in total. They really, really liked it, you know, like that was like the big thing on the front cover, I remember. Asterix on the Super Nintendo next. Now, again, not a series of games I've played up until recently, but then for Sega Powered magazine, I I don't even think it's been featured yet, but it will do, hopefully. It's an asterisk review on Master System, which I absolutely loved playing. So we've given it 76%, which isn't bad. 4-page review, so quite a bit of space for it, really. And then we have got James Pond's Crazy Sports, or the Aquatic Games, I think also known as. You know, originally came out on a Mega Drive. But again, I've said this before, the EA titles were done so much better on a Mega Drive and Super Nintendo. So they've given it, what, 88%? So really good score though still. And then the last review we have got, again, I'm never going to play, Mario is Missing, 61%. Yeah, it's just never ever interested me at all. And then we've got like tips, player's guide for RoboCod. Just gonna whiz on a little bit. Yeah, that was the advert there for Games Master that I did a video on, issue 8. So I'll have to be doing the next one quite soon. So what have we got? Oh, a bit of a jokey thing there. Skill reports of beat 'em up stars there, so a few familiar faces. Bit more of a jokey thing, something that under the Dennis era, Game Zone had a lot of, you know, like all the humour. And then we've got a preview for one of my favourite games, Zombies Ate My Neighbours, or Zombies as it was known in the UK. Still brilliant. And you can play that on Antstream as well. So, you know, if you've just never played it before, well worth checking out. You know, it really, really is. Preview for Lawnmower Man, not played it. Letters pages, just zooming on a little bit. And then, again, all the buyer's guides at the back, you know, what we gave previous reviewed games and stuff. And I've said this before, I think, on Maximum Power. What I used to do was, you know, get a little notebook, write the average scores in and things like that, you know, what each magazine gave it and stuff, and try and use that when I actually went out buying games. That really is the end. A few small previews at the back of the magazine here. Nothing too much. Wing Commander, Hotshot Pool, and Firehawk. What else? Kevin Keegan's Playing Manager, Total Carnage, Sunset Riders. Sunset Riders is a game that I do like. The Captain America isn't great though. But yeah, that's there we go. Dr. Franklin on the back. That's that really. Sorry for going a little bit longer than I was aiming for. Just went off a tangent a few times, but again, doing it again. So again, thank you for anyone who's subscribed. We're almost ready to get the next Addict magazines to print any day now. So when they're back from the printers, I'll be doing a quick, you know, like little highlights video. And yeah, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. And I'll speak to you very soon. Bye-bye.